All right. Happy weekend, human nerds. It's been a bit since I've uploaded, but just got a lot of stuff going on. This is not something I'm going to be able to keep up with probably when work starts, but I'm going to try to at least get one video out a week, maybe get two if I get lucky. This is going to be a weekend update. It's a pretty extensive one. I'm going to talk about a few things, but let's go ahead and talk about books I've been reading. So over the last week, I read some bangers. I'm not going to lie. I had some fun. Let's start with the Books of Blood by Clive Barker. Phenomenal. I might do my own video sort of talking about the different stories that are in here. It was just so good. Like his ability to craft this, like his way of using gore and horror and bringing up these questions that make you sit there and think. It's grotesque. It's definitely like rated R, 100%. I'm going to let you know now, like every trigger warning possible in the books, like everything possible. But, I don't know what it is about the way he handles the material. When you're reading it, you're like, that's screwed up, but I don't feel like you're disrespectful about it. If I had to argue, there's maybe one story where it kind of felt a little, like he pushed things a little too far, and I was kind of like, I don't know about that. But for the most part, I loved it. It was great. So it's the Books of Blood, Volume 1, 2, 3. I'm going to buy the 4, 5, 6 at some point. So I had a good time with it. Like I said, I might do a video. Let me know if you're interested. I might do a video where I talk about the individual stories in it. Weirdly enough, one of my favorite stories in the whole book is one that came out of nowhere. It's Jacqueline S. Confessions or Last Will and Testament. And it's about this woman who finds out she has the ability to just like make someone's flesh obey her commands. And it was fascinating because she basically just like, it's not really a spoiler, but like if she wants to, she could be, she could tell you something like, she could tell your flesh like, collapse, and your bones will literally just like your flesh will collapse. And it's crazy. Like, so it's this cool story about feminism and how she wants to learn how to wield her power. But even in the process of learning how to wield her power, men keep trying to take advantage of her. And this sort of idea of for women who have power is, how can they tell if a man really loves her or loves her power? So I thought that was really cool. Anyways, so that's Clive Barker, Books of Blood. Finished that one. I gave it a 4 out of 5, but honestly, it probably around 4.5. I would just say there's 2 to 3 stories in there that I was like meh on, and that's why I dropped it a little bit. When it comes to short story collections, it's always hard to rate them because you have some that are just amazing. Like that Jacqueline S. story is a 5-star. It's the 5-star story of the book, in my opinion, but because I'm rating everything in it, it kind of brings it down to a 4. All right, audiobook. I finished Tastes Like Candy by Jessica Lacey. Now, this is one, I'm not going to lie, I straight up picked it on Hoopla because of the cover. It looks, it's got a cotton candy skull on the cover, and I was like, whatever. So I read the description, and it was like slasher in a carnival park, and so I was like, you know what, this could be a good way to kill some time. I garden and stuff, so I'll go out there, and I'll listen to this while I do my garden. And I'm not going to lie, so I gave it a 4 out of 5, so I ended up really liking the story. The beginning took a little while to get going. It definitely felt like it was building, but it ended up paying off in the end because I understood like the buildup of the characters. It's always a tough battle with slashers because as a reader, like you are aware pretty much everybody's going to die. So there's a fine line to walk, in my opinion, for an author setting up the characters because I get you want me to care about them, but by literally telling me in the description of your book that it's going to be a slasher, you're already making me like hesitate to care about them. Does that make sense? Let me know if that doesn't make sense. But it's one of those things like I think she did a great job. I cared about the characters. I felt each death. And oh my God, the deaths in this book. I think this book alone had better deaths than all the Friday the 13th movies. Like, it was awesome the way these deaths worked. They maybe had one death in the whole book that I thought was like a cheap death. And I was like, oh, well, that sucked. But even still, it was kind of cool to see it happen. I will say about the 79% mark, because I remember I told my wife, I was like, I think I know who it is and why they're doing it. and I ended up getting it right at the basically 80% mark. But I would say that's pretty good because that's about the time when we had the final girl as the only one left. And I was like, all right, it has to be one of 3 characters at that point. So I had guessed who it was. But that's okay, because at least I didn't guess it at like 40%, because that would have been stupid. I thought the author did a fantastic job with that book. So Stephen Graham Jones recommended it as well. I didn't realize that. So he brings that one up as something he likes for slashers. So Tastes Like Candy by Jessica Lacey. I gave it a 4 out of 5. The only reason it dipped a point for me is because, ironic, for 2 reasons. One, it does take a little while to get going, and it's a little confusing who our sort of main character is going to be. Like, there's a really long prologue. You'll see if you read it. But the other reason is because while I guess the killer, the motive I had in my head for the killer, and I'm not trying to be rude to Jessica Lacey because she's a phenomenal writer, better than me, so she did a better job with it. But I had like a more in-depth motive for her. So, and I was kind of, the motive was like almost like I was going for like the 3rd degree, and Jessica Lacey just left it at like the 2nd degree. I was like, oh man, it would have been cool if like they pushed it to here. So I don't know. I ended up giving it a 4 out of 5 because it is kind of like a thriller candy. Haha, tastes like candy, but you know, it is what it is. Now, the big one for me, the stay up late and have 10% left and finally pass out in my bed, which is not good because I have sleep apnea. So like, I was like falling asleep without my machine. That was not good. Dark Age by Pierce Brown. I finally got through the 5th book for the Red Rising saga, and it has become my favorite book of the Red Rising saga. So there's a reason this book's called Dark Age. Yeah, so if you get this far, be prepared to be extremely upset. There's a lot of stuff that happens in this book. It is both I will say, I think Pierce Brown took this book and said, you know, George R. R. Martin, Stephen King, other authors who are famous for killing characters off, hold my beer, watch how I do it. And I want to say, like, oh my God, some of the stuff that happens in this book is insane. So anyways, Pierce Brown, Dark Age, 5 stars. Favorite Red Rising book now. Like, so favorite, Golden Sun is like not even on my top 10 list anymore because of it. Like, I would just put Dark Age up there. I'll start Lightbringer soon, but I need a minute after Dark Age. I need to cleanse myself a little bit. So, what am I reading right now? Sorry, I have to remember what I'm reading. All right, so my 3 books right now that I'm reading. I'm trying to finish the Empire trilogy by Jay Kristoff. So I finally started Empire of the Dawn. That's a big, chunky book, so I'll be reading that one for a while. That one will probably take me a few weeks to get through. But that's your story of Gabriel De Leon and his fight against the vampire clans and stuff like that. I don't want to say too much about it because I'm on the final book of a trilogy. I will say that I love its structure. I love its world. I love its fantasy horror. And I do think he made vampires scary in this book series. So at least scary in the sense of they're not Edward from Twilight. So audio, I ended up picking up Zombie Bake Off by Stephen Graham Jones. I noticed it on Hoopla, so I picked it up. So I'm at the part where the zombies come, but essentially it's kind of silly. It's this small town has like it's not a convention center, but you get the idea. It's like a place where they hold events, and there's a cooking contest that happens the same day. That's supposed to happen during the morning, in the middle of the day. And then nighttime, there's supposed to be this wrestling event. But the wrestlers show up early and basically are like there when they're not supposed to be. So it feels like it's double booked. And from events that happen in the beginning of the story, zombies show up. So I'm looking forward to seeing where this goes. I'm about 33% done with it. The zombies have just started popping up, so I'm waiting to see how that plays out. But it's been funny so far. I mean, you could tell Stephen Graham Jones was just having some fun with this story. Like, I don't think it was he wasn't writing. I don't think he was writing something that was meant to be like philosophical and deeply thought of, like The Only Good Indians. I think this was just more like, I want to have some fun and write a zombie book. So, as far as my digital read right now, I'm continuing my Legend of Drizzt series. I'm doing the Lone Drow. I'm on the Hunter's Blade trilogy. So the premise here is from events from the book before this. Our main character of the I guess, I don't know. I guess he is the main character. Yeah, Dritz. He's on his own at the tail end of an army that he believes killed his best friend, or one of his best friends. So he's going all ranger in this one. I'm looking forward to it. I'm not that far. I'm only a couple chapters in, but it's got the most dwarfington dwarf stuff ever. Like, I'm talking, I was reading paragraphs to Marissa and she was looking at me like I was crazy, talking about boulder shoulders and gut busters and Torgars and all kinds of fun stuff. So anyways, you got the dwarves fighting orcs and who are retreating from the orc army, but then Driss is behind the orc army, like, kind of like going in and out, guerrilla warfare style, fighting them and all. And R.A. Salvatore is just fantastic at his action scenes. So anyways, I'm enjoying that one a little bit. Other than that, I would like to go ahead and self-promote a little. I self-published my own fantasy book called All the Yesterdays. All the Yesterdays is I would describe it as a starter fantasy book for a modern audience. It is an idea I had for quite a while to take concepts from things like the X-Men, giving people unique abilities and powers, sort of, and dropping them in this very much Hobbit-esque, we need to get to this location and do this thing type of storyline. So giving you that classic fantasy feel with a little bit more of a modern touch to it. It follows our main character, Hal, who is something referred to as an Essence Knight. And Essence Knights is sort of the thing that has been mysteriously gifted to certain individuals in the world and grants them unique abilities that they use and are often trained with at this place called the Essence Order. And then once they are trained to be Essence Knights from this order, they go and they hunt the monsters of the world called Graven. The Graven supposedly come from this main creature, and Knights, their job is to go around and basically save people, do the heroic thing. Be superheroes. Go around, save people, kill these monsters. Well, Hal is retired. He's been through a lot in his life. He was once probably the greatest legend in the East Marches, which is where the story takes place. He was one of the greatest Essence Knights. And he is now retired and kind of in obscurity. Like, his legend lives on in books and stuff like that, but no one really knows where Hal the Unscathed has gone. So the story kicks off with him attending his daughter's 16th birthday. And Cordelia, or he calls her Corey for short, is very upset about something, and Hal probes her to find out what it is and figures out she wants to attend this extremely prestigious university called Madain Sarai University. The problem is, this is the kind of college tuition that he could no way pay based on his life now. He's retired in this cabin. He has no money left over from his glory days. He can't afford it. She can't afford it. She lives with her mom, but there's a, mutual relationship between Hal and his ex. So he visits her all the time and stuff like that. And Hal basically wants to make his daughter's dreams come true, but he doesn't have a way of doing it. He meets up with an old ally, and basically through a night of drinking and talking and reminiscing about old times, decides he's going to come out of retirement, go on the circuit again, kill Graven, hunt them down, fulfill contracts, and make enough money to at least pay for a semester of his daughter's school. That's his goal. Like, I may not be able to pay the whole tuition right now, but can I at least get one semester done? And the book is basically that journey, his journey to sort of make that money, him running into old friends. We discover more about his past. We discover more about the allies' past. We see the different Graven and monsters and creatures of the world. But also, there's this background threat that ends up becoming more of a bigger picture as the book goes on. So if you're interested in a starter fantasy story that will sort of has taken concepts that I grew up with and sort of modernized them a little bit to dip your toes into the fantasy genre and have some fun with it, check out my book, All the Yesterdays. You can get it on Amazon. I think it's on Kindle Direct right now, so I think you can get it free on Kindle Unlimited. So, check it out. Let me know what you think. I had fun with it. It's a fun story. It's not meant to shake foundations or be the next greatest thing talked about for years to come. It's meant to be a fun starter fantasy book that you get to just kind of enjoy the ride. That's the idea. Get to enjoy the ride. So let me know what you think. Other than that, I think that's it for my weekend update. I watched We watched Possession. No, not Possession. Obsession. Haha, there we go. We watched Obsession, Curry Barker's film, or Curry Baker. I don't remember his name. But we watched that. That was fun. I thought that was really interesting. It's funny watching people online debate that movie because it's just interesting. I thought the movie was pretty straightforward, but a lot of people are, arguing over different things. So I will say that I think that's it for my weekend update. I'll let you guys know. Hopefully next week I can put out another video that's like a list of some kind. I want to do like this. If you want to get into zombie books, start here and then sort of branch off from there. So that's kind of what I'm working on right now in my notes. So we'll see where that goes. Anyways, this is Nikki signing off. No.